Hey everybody. I want to talk a little bit about scope and sequence for your unit of study. In a Blackboard, I've given you a handout called, it has the acronym WHERE to, WHERETO. These are considerations for your learning plan. Learning plan and scope and sequence are synonymous. So when I talk about learning plan or scope and sequence, I'm talking about the same thing. In 390, and some of you are concurrently enrolled in 390, you get a much more in-depth exploration into this acronym. But for this course, I just want you to be familiar with it, and I want you to practice it, at least for your introductory lesson, okay, in your scope and sequence. The where to stands for this. So the W is where are we going, why, and what is expected. All right. So when you're considering your scope and sequence, you have to consider about helping students to know where they're going and why they're going there and what's going to be expected of them. The H stands for hook and hold. So again, you've got to consider how are you going to hook kids, how are you going to hold their attention. The E is about equipping students. So that's all about scaffolding and front loading and building background knowledge, making sure they're at a place where they're equipped to do what you want them to do. The R is about rethinking and revisiting. So giving students a place to reflect and rethink and revise their work. The E, the second E, is about self-evaluate. So giving students a chance to self-evaluate their work and reflect on their learning. T is for tailoring to varied needs, interests, and styles. This is about differentiation. This is about providing different ways of demonstrating learning or different ways of entering the learning. And then O is more about you, how you're going to organize and sequence. So in creating a scope and sequence for your unit, this is your O, your organization. So I'm not expecting to see the O coded here. But I do want you, for at least day one, and I don't think I made that clear in the assignment, so I will make that clear. For at least day one, I want you to be conscious of these considerations. I want you to read the whole handout. It's a few pages long. And then look at your scope and sequence and code it. All right, so what is a scope and sequence? Let me back up here. These are not lesson plans. This is just an outline. This is a sketch of what I want to happen on each day. You see I have day 1, day 2, and then 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking 7 days for this little unit. All right, that's a pretty good, that's decent. My day 1 is a little bit more fleshed out because I thought a little bit more about that. But this is kind of what I want to happen. You know, there are 4 major things I want to happen here, and there are some things within those. So my introductory lesson, I want to bridge from memoirs that students have read previously. This is very much about why we're doing this and where we're going, and I'm hooking the students and I'm equipping them to do the work they want to do. Have a conversation about what is place, you know, geographic, emotional, spiritual. Again, I'm doing all those 3 things. This is very much a front-loading kind of a lesson. And then a conversation about what shapes our place, and again, you know, I'm hooking them hopefully by connecting to their own space in the world, and own place in the world, and helping them to get to where I want them to get to. And then we have an exercise that I'm going to have them do, okay, which is all about helping them rethink about what they believe about place. And then secondly, I'm going to have them listen to some narratives, excerpts from Rural Voices. These are oral narratives. And again, you see what I've done here. I'm going to have them do quick I am narratives of 2 or 3 lines, like I am from or I am of. And then I'm going to have them compare and contrast how each student went about this, you know, in groups, and then share with the whole group. So an activity. So introduction, number 1, activity number 2. Then in 3, I'm going to introduce the digital storytelling project, okay, about what is digital story. I'm going to give them examples. My Sweet Land of Liberty and my Summer Living, as well as some from this digital storytelling. And so here I'm hooking and hopefully holding. I'm equipping students to do the work, and I'm helping them to rethink their own versions of what it means to be in a place. And then I'm going to walk them through how to, you know, this sort of steps of doing this, you know, coming up with a proposal, talk about possibilities of what should go into a proposal, go over the expectations. This will be a rubric for narrative using ELA standards. Here are the qualifications. And then I'm going to have them do an exit slip about their initial thoughts of how they might construct a narrative that explains how they feel about place. Okay, and this is about self-evaluation. I put EV for the E on the E for the evaluation. It's about equipping them. It's about helping them rethink and revise. And then their assignment will be to write a proposal and then submit that on the course management site. So this is day one, and I've coded it. And I will make a more detailed lesson, but this is kind of what I want to happen. You can see on day two, this is kind of what I want to happen on day two. Introduce them to the platform. The next 3 to 4 days will be about getting students ready to record this digital story. So people are not going to be in the same place at the same time. So day 3 is a workshop day. Day 4, day 5, day 6 and 7 will begin the WebQuest lessons about place. And then day 7, they'll share and publish their digital stories. So this is what a scope and sequence looks like. You have the day and what you want to happen on that day. And I may be a little ambitious for day 1. This may take me a day and a half, actually. But for now, I'm thinking a day. And as I kind of look at it, and even as I teach it, I'll know better what I want to do with this. But you need to have a plan, and this is the learning plan, the scope and sequence of what you're going to do. That's what I want you to do for your unit of study, okay, for the entire unit of study, which is why I've been harping on you to keep it small, because creating a scope and sequence for a really long unit takes a lot of time, and I want you to be able to concentrate on your digital task and also on creating good, solid unit plans. But I don't want it to be so overwhelming that you're up all hours of the night. So keep it small, folks. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions.